Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you will make your jaw drop so hard it might crack the floor. Imagine this. A woman wakes up from a coma, her family sobbing tears of joy, social media screaming miracle, only for the celebration to flip into pure chaos. Why? Because the very first words out of her mouth weren't about gratitude, weren't about survival. They were about Blueface, and the lawsuit she's allegedly ready to unleash on him. Yeah, you heard that right. From hospital bed to courtroom drama in the blink of an eye. Now tell me, have you ever seen a recovery story take a turn this wild? One second it's all praise the heavens, the next second it's call the lawyers. And at the center of it all is Chrisean Rock's sister, the same sister the world had already written off, now charging back into the spotlight with accusations so heavy they could sink Blueface's already sinking ship. We're talking betrayal, trauma, and yes, the devastating loss of a baby. So here's the million-dollar question. Is this about justice, or is this about revenge? Is Blueface guilty of something darker than anyone imagined? Or is this just another messy chapter in the never-ending circus of clout, chaos, and cash grabs? Stick with me, because this isn't just a twist in the saga. It's the twist that could end careers, destroy reputations, and leave fans questioning everything they thought they knew. Let's rewind the tape. Ladies and gentlemen, because before we even touch the lawsuit bombshell, you need to understand just how deep, how messy, and how absolutely jaw-dropping this scandal is. We're not just talking about a celebrity fight or some random social media beef. No, this is the kind of story that makes tabloids salivate, fan pages explode, and lawyers sharpen their pens. At the heart of it, Chrisean Rock's sister, fresh out of a coma, barely able to breathe without hospital monitors beeping, and yet somehow ready to point fingers straight at Blueface. Now, if you've been anywhere near the internet in the last 2 years, you already know Blueface's resume looks less like an artist's portfolio and more like a rap sheet stapled together with Instagram clout. Arrests, breakups, public fights, and live-streamed meltdowns. You name it, he's probably done it. But this is something different. This isn't just another video of him yelling at Chrisean on IG Live, or flashing cash stacks bigger than his fan base. This is a woman claiming that behind the scenes, beyond the ring lights and the reality TV antics, Blueface crossed a line so dark it allegedly left her with trauma, betrayal, and most devastatingly, the loss of her unborn child. Yeah, let that sink in. A coma survivor blaming a rapper for tragedy. Tell me that doesn't sound like a courtroom drama straight out of a Netflix original. But here's where it gets even messier. You see, this isn't just some he said, she said situation. According to whispers floating through the streets, leaks sliding into DMs, and alleged insiders desperate for their 5 minutes of fame, there's already a case file being drafted. Anonymous sources claim paperwork is being pushed, lawyers are circling, and Blueface's camp is panicking harder than his last freestyle attempt. And if you thought Chrisean Rock's family drama was wild before, this is about to make every previous meltdown look like a kid's birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. Let's break it down. First off, why Blueface? Why point the finger at him when the man's already juggling more scandals than a reality show villain? Well, here's the kicker. Chrisean's sister allegedly told doctors, friends, and pretty much anyone within earshot that Blueface not only mistreated her during a vulnerable time, but also directly caused her unimaginable pain. According to these claims, she blames him for the physical and emotional abuse that led to her pregnancy loss. And let's be real, when a woman wakes up from a coma with that kind of statement, people listen, people believe, and people rage. Cue the internet. Within hours of the first whispers leaking out, hashtags started trending. Justice for Chrisean's sister. Blueface exposed. TikTok detectives were already stitching clips of old interviews, live streams, and shady videos trying to prove that the signs were always there. You know the type, half-baked theories with dramatic background music, red circles around blurry screenshots, and captions like, "This is the receipt you missed." Suddenly, everyone became an investigator, a judge, and a jury rolled into one. But let's not forget Blueface himself. Oh no, the man who thrives on controversy like it's his morning coffee. What does he do? Instead of laying low, instead of showing sympathy, he allegedly goes live. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, reports claim Blueface fired up Instagram Live, puffed his chest and told the world, "Ain't nobody suing me." People wake up from comas and start lying. That's what happens when clout is the medicine. Did he actually say those words? Depends on who you ask. Some say it was screen recorded. Some say it was photoshopped. Some say it disappeared faster than his last single on the charts. But here's the truth that matters. Perception. Fans ate it up. Critics dragged him. And in that whirlwind of chaos, the lawsuit narrative grew even louder. Now, let's talk history. Because this scandal isn't happening in a vacuum. It's building on years of drama. Remember the time Chrisean lost her tooth in a fight linked to Blueface? Remember the arrests, the videos of him screaming, the endless cycle of breakups and makeups that looked more scripted than a soap opera? Every one of those receipts is now being dragged back into the spotlight, repackaged as evidence in this new saga. Suddenly, every fan who ever doubted Blueface is shouting, "See? We told you! We knew it was only a matter of time." And while all this is happening, Chrisean Rock herself? Silent. Radio silence. Which only makes people hungrier. Because when the main character of the chaos doesn't speak, the audience fills the gaps. Is she supporting her sister? Is she torn between loyalty to family and loyalty to Blueface? Or is she secretly plotting her own move in this reality TV chess game? One anonymous friend of the family claimed in a leaked voice note, "Chrisean is breaking down. She doesn't know what side to take. On one hand, it's her blood, her sister. On the other, it's the father of her child. She feels like no matter what she says, she loses." Whether that's true or just another fan fiction, the point is, it adds fuel to the fire. And fire is exactly what this scandal is becoming. By now you might be wondering, how serious is this lawsuit talk? Is it just another internet rumor, or are we actually looking at Blueface facing real legal consequences? Well, reports claim lawyers have been contacted. Medical records are being reviewed. And yes, hospital staff have allegedly been subpoenaed. You heard that right. Nurses, doctors, people who were in the room are allegedly being called to testify in a potential case. If that doesn't scream serious, I don't know what does. And yet, while all of this legal chatter is bubbling, Blueface keeps posting, keeps flexing, keeps clowning, as if daring the world to come at him. And maybe that's the scariest part, the sheer confidence of a man who believes he's untouchable. But as history shows us, every empire, no matter how flashy, eventually cracks. Which brings us back to the sister herself. Imagine the pressure she's under. Fresh out of a coma, her story questioned, her pain turned into trending hashtags. For some, she's a survivor finally standing up against a toxic force. For others, she's just another player in the endless game of fame and scandal. But for Blueface, she could be the one person who finally forces him into a courtroom he can't just walk out of. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, teetering on the edge of chaos. We've got a sister fresh out of a coma, Blueface flexing on live like he's untouchable, and the internet acting like it's auditioning for Law and Order TikTok unit. But let's peel back the layers, because behind the screaming headlines, the viral hashtags, and the shaky iPhone screen recordings, there's a whole web of so-called evidence and leaks that make this scandal even juicier. First up, the hospital files. Oh yes, because no scandal is complete without some mysterious medical records slipping out of the shadows. According to documents that mysteriously popped up on Reddit before being deleted faster than Blueface's last mixtape, nurses allegedly noted emotional distress linked to domestic conflict. Did they actually write those words? Maybe, maybe not. But once the screenshot hit Twitter, it didn't matter. Fans grabbed it, circled the text in red, slapped ominous music behind it and declared, "Proof." Ominous music behind it and declared, "Proof." And just when people thought the leaks couldn't get spicier, boom. A supposed voice recording of a hospital staff member surfaced. The muffled audio, full of static, allegedly had a nurse whispering. She kept saying Blueface's name, over and over like she was terrified. Real? Fake? Who cares? On the internet, perception is reality, and reality is content. Within hours, the clip had millions of views, dissected frame by frame like it was the Zapruder film of hip-hop drama. But wait, because the leaks didn't stop there. An anonymous Instagram page calling itself the Industry Truth Teller claimed to have inside info from a friend of the family. The post read, "Blueface threatened her when she was pregnant. He didn't want the baby. He said it would ruin his career. Now she's coming back to get justice." Add a blurry picture of Blueface at a club, throw in some crying emojis, and suddenly it's gospel truth to half the internet. And speaking of the internet, the reactions. TikTok was flooded with edits of Chrisean crying in old interviews, now captioned with lines like, "She knew this day would come." Twitter was divided down the middle. On one side, Blueface defenders swearing this is all just a clout chase. On the other, an army of fans screaming for justice, convinced Blueface has finally met the scandal that could end him. One viral tweet read, "Blueface ruined Chrisean's tooth, ruined her career, and now ruined her sister's life. Lock him up." Another shot back with, "Y'all believe anything on the internet?" Next week they'll say Blueface caused global warming too. And just like that, the scandal wasn't just about Blueface and Chrisean's sister anymore. It was a cultural battleground. A debate about fame, power, and whether celebrities can ever really be held accountable. Meanwhile, let's not forget the money. Because scandals like this don't just trend, they cash out. Multiple fan pages reported that GoFundMe accounts supposedly tied to the sisters' legal fund had popped up overnight. One page claimed to raise $50,000 in a matter of hours, while skeptics pointed out the account was run by someone with a profile picture of SpongeBob wearing designer shades. But again, did it matter? Not really, because the narrative wasn't about truth. It was about vibes, and the vibe was pure chaos. Now let's talk Blueface's reaction, because this man has mastered the art of doubling down. While the internet dissected leaks and TikTok lawyers prepared their closing arguments, Blueface allegedly posted a video inside a jewelry store, grinning ear to ear saying, "Court? What court? I'm too busy buying ice." He held up a diamond chain, smirked, and added, "Y'all love believing fairy tales. But here's the thing. Sometimes arrogance is evidence." Because to the haters, that clip wasn't a flex. It was an admission. A man who feels untouchable, flaunting wealth while ignoring tragedy. That's the kind of moment that sticks. And sure enough, within hours, fans were splicing that clip with the leaked nurse audio, painting Blueface as the ultimate villain in a saga too twisted to script. And then, because no scandal is complete without government involvement, rumors started swirling that officials were looking into the case. An alleged leaked memo claimed investigators were reviewing hospital security footage to confirm whether Blueface had ever visited the sister during her coma. Did this memo come from a real agency? Highly doubtful. Did it get 100,000 retweets in a segment on a gossip podcast? Absolutely. But let's not pretend this is just about paperwork. The emotional weight of this scandal is what's pulling fans in. Picture it. A woman fighting for her life, waking up, and the first thing she does is call out the man she blames for her pain. That's not just drama, that's Shakespeare with Wi-Fi. And people eat that up. Anonymous insiders kept piling on. One claimed, Blueface offered hush money to keep her quiet. Another whispered, there's video proof he threatened her. None of it confirmed, none of it denied, but every claim another log on the fire. And fans didn't want the fire put out. They wanted to watch it burn. And then came the ultimate plot twist, a supposed DM leak from Chrisean herself. Screenshots showed her telling a friend, I don't know what to do. My sister wants me to testify against him, but he's my baby's dad. Were they real? Who knows? But they spread like wildfire, with fans screaming that Chrisean was being forced to choose blood or love. And if there's one thing reality TV taught us, it's that fans live for that kind of impossible choice. By now, this scandal wasn't just a headline. It was a movement. TikTok edits were racking up millions of views. YouTubers were posting hour-long deep dives. And Twitter threads were treating Blueface's Instagram stories like classified FBI files. And yet, beneath all the chaos, one chilling truth kept echoing. If this lawsuit actually moves forward, if even a fraction of these claims are real, then Blueface isn't just looking at memes and trending hashtags. He's looking at a career-ending, reputation-shattering disaster. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, standing at the point where scandals stop being gossip and start becoming consequences. Because let's face it, you can only flex so many chains on Instagram Live, only clown so many fake stories, before the hammer of accountability swings down. And if the whispers, leaks, and courtroom murmurs are to be believed, Blueface might finally be staring down the one opponent he can't out-rap, out-fight, or out-clout, the law. Now, let's start with the legal dominoes. According to alleged insiders, Because of course, every scandal has insiders who suddenly become experts when the drama hits. The sisters' legal team is prepping a full-on civil suit. We're talking claims of emotional distress, wrongful harm, and the most gut-wrenching of all, damages tied to the pregnancy loss. In plain English, she's not just coming for justice, she's coming for the bag. And ladies and gentlemen, when lawsuits get tied to celebrity drama, those numbers can climb higher than Blueface's worst auto-tune attempt. But that's not all. Reports claim prosecutors are reviewing whether there's a criminal angle here. Yes, you heard that right. Criminal. One leaked document floating around online suggests authorities are checking hospital security logs, phone records, and even DM screenshots to piece together whether there's enough evidence to charge Blueface with abuse. Do we know if this document is real? Not a chance. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter. Once the internet decides you're guilty, it's only a matter of time before someone with a badge gets curious enough to look into it for real. And trust me, fans aren't just curious, they're relentless. People have been tagging district attorneys, flooding government emails, even calling hotlines demanding justice for Chrisean's sister. Imagine that, random TikTok detectives, sitting in their bedrooms, eating hot Cheetos, somehow believing they're the legal cavalry charging into battle. And yet the noise works. Politicians smell a headline, prosecutors smell a career-making case, and suddenly the whole circus has moved from Twitter threads to official investigations. Meanwhile, Blueface's empire, cracking. Sponsors allegedly pulling out, club promoters hesitating, even reality TV producers questioning whether it's worth filming with a man who might be walking into a courtroom more than a studio. One insider from a production company claimed, "We can't have cameras rolling if there's a chance he'll be indicted mid-season. The risk is too high." Translation? The drama might finally cost him more than a trending hashtag. It might cost him his paycheck. And while Blueface's camp tries to spin the narrative, the family at the center of it all? Imploding, Chrisean Rock, once silent, is now allegedly torn apart. Leaked text messages supposedly show her crying to friends. "They're telling me to pick a side. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm losing everyone." Imagine the pressure. Your sister is suing your man. Your man is facing public crucifixion, and the world is demanding a statement like it's their birthright. It's a lose-lose situation dressed up as a viral soap opera, but it doesn't stop there. Rumors are swirling that the sisters' side has already filmed a tell-all interview. Some say it's with a gossip YouTuber. Others swear it's a full-blown sit-down with a streaming service hungry for views. Either way, if that footage drops, expect every alleged detail, every tear, every accusation, every shaky-voiced, "He ruined my life," to be weaponized against Blueface in both the court of law and the court of public opinion. And we all know which one hits harder. Because let's be real, celebrity court cases aren't about evidence. They're about narrative. And right now, the narrative is brutal. A woman wakes up from a coma, points at Blueface, and screams for justice. The optics alone could bury him. Add in a grieving family, a devastated Chrisean, and millions of fans crying for blood, and suddenly, Blueface looks less like a rapper and more like a villain in a Lifetime movie. And speaking of Lifetime, don't think for a second that Hollywood isn't circling this scandal like vultures. You can practically hear the pitches already. Based on true events, the untold story of betrayal, COMA, and courtroom drama starring whoever's available on Cameo. Because tragedy sells, and in this case it sells better than Blueface's last album. But let's circle back to the fallout for a second. Because if this lawsuit sticks, if it actually goes the distance, then Blueface could be staring down millions in damages. Think frozen assets, seized cars, even repossessed mansions. Imagine the man who flexed endless cash stacks now being chased by debt collectors. And don't laugh, because it happens. Fame is fragile, and lawsuits eat money faster than fans eat popcorn during this drama. And then there's the cultural fallout. Already think pieces are brewing. Bloggers are writing essays about the cycle of abuse in hip-hop. Academics are dissecting the commodification of pain, and TikTok creators are editing sad music over every Blueface clip ever made. The scandal has outgrown the players. It's no longer just about Blueface or Chrisean's sister. It's a mirror for the audience. Why do we keep watching? Why do we keep feeding into it? Why do we let tragedy become entertainment? But you know what? The audience doesn't care about reflection. They care about the next twist. And trust me, more twists are coming. Rumors of secret videos, whispers of other women stepping forward, even suggestions that Blueface might flip the script and countersue for defamation. Imagine that circus. Blueface suing a COMA survivor for ruining his reputation. If that doesn't scream peak clout era, I don't know what does. And ladies and gentlemen, that's where we stand. A sister demanding justice, a rapper fighting for survival, and a fan base eating it all up like it's the finale of their favorite reality show. But unlike reality TV, this doesn't wrap up with a neatly edited reunion episode. This one has real consequences, real fallout, and potentially real jail time. Because in the end, scandals fade, but lawsuits stick. And if Blueface thinks he can joke his way out of this one, he might just be laughing on his way into a courtroom he can't stream his way out of. So brace yourselves, because if you thought the leaks and whispers were shocking, just wait until subpoenas start flying. That's when the real fireworks begin. And that, my friends, is the full fallout. The scandal that started in a hospital bed might just end in a prison cell, or at the very least in financial ruin. Either way, one thing is clear. Blueface's days of skating past the chaos may finally be over. So after everything we've uncovered, the COMA miracle flipped into a courtroom nightmare. The leaked files, the shady DMs, the viral hashtags, and the looming threat of subpoenas. The only question left is, are we watching a tragedy or a performance? Think about it. If Blueface really is guilty of the things being whispered, then this isn't just scandal, it's devastation. A family ripped apart, a baby lost, and a man who thought he could flex his way out of accountability finally crashing into reality. But if this whole circus is exaggerated, if parts of the story are twisted for sympathy and clout, then what does that say about the industry, about fame, about us? Are we just spectators feeding into a never-ending hunger for mess? Willing to believe anything if it comes with receipts and red circles on screenshots? And let's not forget Chrisean Rock herself. Torn between blood and love, silence and survival. If she speaks up, she risks burning everything. If she stays quiet, she risks losing everyone. So what would you do if you were in her shoes? Whose side are you on? The sister demanding justice or the man claiming innocence? Because here's the truth. The courtroom will decide one version of this story. But the internet has already picked a villain, and once the mob locks in, there's no turning back. So now it's your turn. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was this Blueface's ultimate downfall, or just another messy chapter in the saga that refuses to end? Do you think the sister's lawsuit will hold up, or will it collapse under the weight of drama and exaggeration? And don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe for the next shocking update, and stay tuned. Because if you think this was the climax, trust me, the real ending hasn't even dropped yet.